The following videos all come from the same ongoing investigation, the same home, the same recurring activity, and a family that has clearly moved past the point of dismissing what's happening around them. In the first clip, filmed during the daytime in a well-lit living room, a man begins asking whatever might be present to communicate. Watch.
Can you make a noise? Okay, I'll be back.
Almost immediately after he asks, "Can you make a noise?" a smoke detector lets out a single sharp chirp, not a prolonged low battery warning, but one clean, perfectly timed response. A second chirp follows moments later as he moves toward the staircase, and underneath it, faint muffled thumping sounds come from upstairs, the kind that land differently when the house is supposed to be quiet. He says, "Okay, I'll be back," before walking away, which is either the most casual thing you can say after a smoke detector answers your question, or the most telling. Some viewers think the timing is too precise to be coincidence, pointing to what researchers sometimes call intelligent haunting behavior, where a presence doesn't just linger but actively responds. Skeptics will tell you smoke detectors chirp randomly when batteries are low, and they're not wrong, but the timing here is hard to wave off. When the homeowner set up infrared cameras in the common areas of the house while everyone was out, the audio collected was unsettling in a different way. Take a look. A loud, sharp bang erupts close to the camera's microphone, immediately followed by a quiet, breathy shh sound with no visible source, as if something heard the camera running and wanted it to stop. In a separate room upstairs, a second unexplained bang is captured, and not long after, a clear two-note whistling pattern repeats from inside what appears to be an empty hallway. Then a hanger on the coat rack swings sharply to the left and falls, accompanied by a distinct click, with no one present and no air current to account for it. The shh is what most people keep coming back to because it implies awareness. It's not a random creak or a settling wall, it's a sound that would only make sense if something knew it was being recorded. Outside at night, the outdoor security cameras picked up something harder to categorize. Watch closely. A small self-illuminated orb appears briefly near the sheer curtain hanging on the patio before vanishing, and then the camera begins tracking something fast and invisible, panning erratically before a sudden bright circular flash illuminates the patio for a split second with no apparent source. The homeowner notes that it wasn't wind, the curtain doesn't move, nothing moves, and it wasn't a train. So what was that? The following clip was recorded by a man inside what he says is his new house, although according to him, the strange activity didn't begin with this property. In the description accompanying the video, he explains that it was around 3 in the morning when he kept hearing knocking sounds coming from somewhere inside the house. At first, he tried to brush it off, figuring it could be the normal noises of an unfamiliar home settling in the middle of the night. But then something suddenly fell. That was enough for him to grab his phone and start recording. Watch. What makes the story particularly unsettling is what he says next. According to him, people are always telling him to move whenever he shares these experiences, but he insists the same kind of activity follows him no matter where he lives. And that's where the conversation takes a much darker turn. If the disturbances have happened across multiple homes, some viewers believe the issue may not be attached to a location at all. Instead, they point toward the possibility of an attachment, a phenomenon often described in paranormal circles as a presence that follows a person rather than remaining tied to a building. Also, in some traditions, repeated knocking was even considered a sign that something unseen was attempting to draw attention to itself. Whether that's what's happening here is impossible to know, but if his claim is true, then the most unsettling part of this story isn't the knocking. It's the fact that this is his new house, and whatever he's dealing with may have arrived before he did. Before we head back in, one quick thing. All of our videos are now on Spotify too, so if that's where you tend to be late at night, every compilation we've made is sitting there waiting for you. Watch it however you'd rather watch it. The link's down in the description. Now, back to the video. This next clip comes from a father who says the strange activity in his home has become impossible to ignore, not just for him, but for his children as well. According to him, they had all been hearing unexplained knocking sounds and footsteps coming from the kitchen, often late at night when nobody else was awake. At first, he tried to rationalize it, telling himself it was simply an old house making noise. But after hearing it happen over and over again, he decided to do something most people probably wouldn't. He tried talking to it. Watch.
Hello? Can you make a noise? Can you make a loud noise? Is this your old house? Have you been following us? I can hear you. Are you in the kitchen? Can you knock 2 times? I only hear 1 knock. Can you consistently knock 2 times? What is your name?
Some paranormal investigators refer to this kind of interaction as partial compliance, the idea that an entity may attempt communication but cannot always respond exactly as requested. Rather than delivering perfect answers on command, it responds within whatever limitations it has. To many researchers, that can actually feel more compelling than flawless responses because it appears less rehearsed and more authentic. Others believe that's exactly what makes the situation dangerous. In many older traditions, repeated knocking from unseen sources was considered an invitation to engage. The belief was that the more attention a presence received, the stronger its manifestations became. Communication wasn't viewed as harmless curiosity, it was viewed as opening a door, and that's the thought some viewers couldn't shake after watching. The following video was recorded by a woman who was home alone one night. No family, no roommates, just her and the sound she kept hearing from the kitchen. She'd been trying to capture it for a while, she says, because whatever was moving around in there had started well before she ever turned a camera on. You can hear the nervousness in her voice as she stands at the bedroom doorway, phone shaking in her hand, asking into the dark hallway, "Who's there?" and getting nothing back. Watch.
¿Quién anda ahí? Me quedé sola en la casa, oigan, y se escucha como si estuvieran moviendo las sillas, de que es como si las estuvieran, pero ya no alcancé a grabar eso. ¿Quién anda ahí? Pases de lanza, güey. ¿Quién eres? ¿Qué es lo que quieres?
The first sound hits before anything even appears on screen. A loud, aggressive scrape of furniture across tile that sends her scrambling behind the doorframe. She whispers back at it, "Don't cross the line," like she's negotiating with whatever it is, which honestly says something about how real this felt to her in the moment. When she finally works up the nerve to walk back down the hallway, a wooden dining chair slides violently across the kitchen floor on its own, slamming to a stop in the middle of the entryway. Some viewers pointed out how fast the movement was. Not a slow drift you chalk up to an uneven floor, but a forceful, directed shove. Others think the whole clip could be pulled off with a hidden string, though the aggressive speed of it makes that harder to dismiss quickly. She wasn't the only one in the house that night in a metaphorical sense, it seems. The second clip comes from another woman, also alone, also at night, when something caught her eye in the mirror above her dresser. Watch.
Es la 1:45 de la mañana y un reflejo horrible. O sea, quiero que vean. Güey, qué mierda es eso. No le dio forma de nada, güey. Güey. No. No. Es güey. Es que no le dio forma. No voy a dormir aquí hoy, voy a dormir en el cuarto de mis papás. Pero tengo muchísimo miedo. ¿Ustedes creen que sea conveniente dormir con la Biblia en mi buró? Porque está en la sala, a la entrada. ¿Será conveniente dormir con la Biblia en el buró o no? ¿Vieron lo que pasó días anteriores? Que tocaron y dijeron, "Ma, soy yo, ábreme", y yo estaba con mi mamá dentro de la cocina. Mi mamá no tiene más hijas. Antes de eso tocaron la ventana aquí bien fuerte 3 veces, 3 veces, bien fuerte. No, ya no sé qué hacer. Se me hace que no lo voy a hablar a un sacerdote, porque ya lo hice una vez y no funcionó. Pero a lo mejor alguien más preparado para estas situaciones. ¿Cómo se llaman esas personas que manejan ese tipo de cosas? No sé, tengo que buscar ahorita como quiera, pero yo no duermo aquí. Yo ya me voy.
A small object visible only in the reflection, something she describes as bird-like, a plush figure, makes a sudden downward twitch with no clear cause, and then when she goes to check the bed where it should be sitting, there's nothing there. The slow motion replay she includes makes the movement undeniable, but the missing object is the part that really unsettled her and her viewers. Some people in the comments pointed to mirror lore, which turns up across a lot of traditions. Mirrors as thresholds, as surfaces that show things the naked eye misses, sometimes things that exist just slightly out of step with our own space. Others weren't willing to go that far, suggesting the object may have simply fallen out of frame. But the physical absence is harder to explain away. And then there's a third clip, from another woman at home at night who noticed her closet door moving. Watch closely.
Se escuchan susurros que vienen de aquí del closet. Escuchaban susurros en la puerta. No te pases, ya no se está moviendo. Pero se movió al principio. No te pases. Güey. No, yo no me voy a asomar. Yo no me voy a asomar. Yo, no. Ay. No mames. Se van a asomar ustedes, lo siento mucho. Es que no hay nada, güey. Estas puertas no son de las que se desplazan solas. No tienen ese problema. No sé. No mames, güey. Güey, huele horrible. No te pases, güey. Los susurros que creo que no alcancé a grabar en ninguna parte del video, o corríjanme si sale en alguna parte, yo todavía no lo escucho, pero se escuchan como, eran como murmullos, como si alguien estuviera rezando en voz baja, pero muy bajito, tipo así, ¿no? Así fue como se escuchó y venía de ahí, provenía de ahí del closet. Entonces, ¿ustedes creen que sea la misma cosa o sea algo más?
A bifold door panel, detached from its track, leaning loosely against the door frame, swings smoothly and steadily shut all on its own over the course of roughly 45 seconds, with no one near it and no wind source visible. What makes it harder to explain is the detail she shows afterward. Because the panel is off its track, it has no mechanical reason to swing in a controlled arc like that. A detached door leaning against a wall should stay where it is, or fall. It shouldn't close itself. Many viewers found that the slow, deliberate movement was more unsettling than anything sudden would have been. It felt intentional, like something was pulling it shut rather than disturbing it by accident. One woman, 3 nights, 3 things moving in rooms that were supposed to be empty. So what exactly is moving them? The following video was recorded late at night, somewhere inside a home. A woman hears what sounds like her daughter calling out from the dark. A small voice, distressed, coming from somewhere it shouldn't be. She approaches a low rectangular opening at the base of the wall, the kind of gap that sits flush with the baseboard and leads somewhere you'd never want to go. The family dog is already there, rigid, barking at whatever the darkness is hiding. Watch.
Mom, please help me.
Leah, how did you get down there? You were supposed to be. Oh my god.
The child's voice, calling out, "Mom, please help me," is chilling enough on its own. But what appears in that opening for barely a fraction of a second is something else entirely. A pale, elongated face with hollow black eyes and no visible features beyond a thin, horizontal slit where a mouth should be. It's there, and then it's gone. The dog doesn't move. Many who've seen this clip point out that whatever that face belongs to, it doesn't look like anything human, and it wasn't calling for help. You decide what was really down there. The following video was captured on a home baby monitor, and the backstory behind it is what makes it so hard to watch without feeling something. A 15-month-old girl is alone in her crib in the middle of the night, and by all appearances, she's content, rolling around, giggling, kicking her legs, the way toddlers do when they've decided sleep isn't happening just yet. But her mother shared this footage with a detail that changes everything about how you watch it. In 2017, her 3-year-old daughter Jada passed away. This is her younger sister. Listen closely. Twice during that footage, once around 50 seconds, and again near the 2-minute mark, the baby says a name. It's muffled the first time, but the second time it's clear enough to stop you cold. Jada. She's 15 months old, playing alone in a dark room, saying her dead sister's name. Some believe very young children exist in a kind of in-between state, not yet fully closed off from whatever's on the other side, still soft to presences that adults can no longer sense. Others think it's coincidence, the random babbling of a toddler landing on a sound that resembles a name. But then the clip ends the way it does. That sudden, piercing scream. Out of nowhere, no visible trigger, cutting off just as abruptly as it started. Whatever she was laughing with a moment before, something about it changed. And her mother has to live with not knowing what that was. Like and subscribe if you're enjoying watching this video. In the following clip, a man has been systematically documenting some of the strangest and most unsettling activity he's ever encountered. But before we get there, the first piece of footage wasn't captured by him at all. It came from a backyard security camera rolling silently at just after midnight. Watch. The infrared footage catches something hard to explain, a white ball that seems to materialize out of nowhere on the grass, rolling slightly before coming to rest, followed moments later by a single brilliant flash of light that floods the entire yard for a fraction of a second. And then, in the zoomed-in section, what appears to be a dark, humanoid figure moving between the sheds in the background, passing behind a post and disappearing. There's no audio, no wind, no person visible before or after. Some viewers think the flash and the figure are connected, that the light preceded something's arrival, almost like a signal. Others believe what the camera picked up was simply a person cutting through the yard and the ball was already there. But the figure's movement, the way it seems to drift rather than walk, has led a number of people to attach the term shadow person to it, a label used in paranormal communities to describe dark, human-shaped presences that appear on camera but don't behave like living people, moving without sound, without weight, and without any clear origin or destination. Now, shifting to the daytime, a man sitting on his covered porch, dressed casually, wearing blue gloves, just getting some air after cleaning the house, had already set up security cameras around the property. He wasn't expecting anything. Watch.
Something like that has never happened before. And the funny thing is that I was out here last night. I was on a Discord call with a couple of my people, a couple of my followers, and I showed them the inside of the house from sitting out here. And it was so dark inside there because I didn't have any lights on or anything like that. And my heart is racing right now. Oh my God, I got chills. It's like 80 degrees and I have full body chills. It's way too early in the morning for this.
The porch camera captures a white door with a glass pane violently swinging open on its own before slamming shut, and the man is visibly startled, sitting up immediately and moving toward it to investigate. He comes back to the camera shaken, hand on his chest, talking about full body chills despite it being around 80 degrees outside. He says something like that has never happened before. The door showed no signs of a breeze or mechanical failure when he checked it. Skeptics will point to air pressure differentials or loose hinges, but the force of the swing, how hard it hit the wall, how decisively it shut, makes that harder to dismiss than it sounds. Now this next footage is where things get genuinely terrifying, and it all takes place inside what appears to be a hospital on the 4th floor, at night. The man returns to a housekeeping closet where he's had previous experiences. He's heard breathing here before, seen things he can't explain, and this time he sets his phone on the doorframe to record the dark room while he walks away. Watch.
the phone moved. And the door was locked. Back on. Sorry, it's hot in here. Just had to run across the 5th floor. I swear I just heard voices down there. I have chills. That sound like somebody breathing heavy. Now we out of here. We out.
No one was there, yet the phone moved like someone kicked it. And when he comes back to retrieve it, the door, which he left unlocked, is now locked from the inside, forcing him to use a key to get back in. He finds the phone on the floor. Then, as he walks down the hallway trying to compose himself, a deep, disembodied breath, close, unmistakable, like someone directly beside him, freezes him in place. He says, "That sound like somebody breathing heavy," and leaves immediately. 4 separate events, escalating in aggression. That pattern, from a single loud bang to a locked door to direct auditory contact, is what investigators sometimes call progressive phenomena, where a presence appears to test boundaries before making itself known more directly. It didn't stop there. On a separate visit, also at 3 a.m. on the 4th floor, he returns to the same housekeeping closet, turns off the light, and slides his phone under the door to record what's inside. Listen closely.
So, this is housekeeping, just your USSC. Oh, it's open. I thought it was locked. So they said what you do is turn off the light and then just wait. Well, I'm not about to stand in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the light and then slide my phone on the door so what happens. So here we go. Light off. And going under. Now tell me if y'all see or hear anything. I ain't going in there. Anything?
A deep, raspy, rhythmic breathing fills the recording from the dark gap under the door. Guttural, unnatural, consistent, while he stands just outside, apparently unaware it's even happening. On the 5th floor of the same building, he wanders into an empty hospital room, clearly uneasy, saying the floor makes him feel uncomfortable every time he's up there. He checks the room, checks the bathroom, and then moves back into the corridor, completely alone. And then this happened.
This floor makes me feel uneasy all the time. I never feel good up here. So you'll see, nobody's back there. It's just me. I could have sworn I heard something. I'm entirely sure. What the? Now, y'all heard that. I'm gonna show you. So, look. When you move the handle, that handle doesn't move. This handle, it locks. Okay? So, that is opening. That sound came from inside there, and I immediately opened the door. You need to use your key card in order to get in. Oh boy.
As he approaches a closed supply room door, the lever handle rattles violently for several seconds, loud and aggressive, as if something on the other side is trying to get out. He opens it with his keycard and the room is completely empty. He then takes the time to demonstrate the locking mechanism, showing that the interior handle doesn't operate the latch, that the exterior lever locks, and that you need a keycard to get back in. The sound came from inside a room that couldn't have been opened from the inside. No other explanation holds. For this last clip, he decides to go back into the housekeeping closet on the 4th floor one more time, this time stepping inside with the camera and staying in the room himself, something a viewer had asked him to do. He shows the small empty space, confirms he's alone, and then turns the light off. Listen closely.
Alright, so back up here on the 4th floor, yet again. Y'all did not like me leaving y'all in the in yesterday, but today I am going to take the advice of one of our viewers, and I'm going in there with y'all. See what happens. Here we go. Alright, so I'm in the housekeeping closet. You can see it's just me. Someone's in here. Okay. Now somebody asked me to set this thing up on the desk. I can't do that because the logo for the company I work for is not supposed to be in the video. So this is the most you're gonna get. But I showed you the whole room. There are no cuts. Here we go. I'm shaking. Here we go. Okay. There's a door there. Nothing up there. You can see, well, you can't really see, but you get what I'm saying. I'm talking so that way you can hear that. What the hell?
In the total darkness, while he's still talking, 2 clear and distinct chiming sounds ring out. Melodic, high-pitched, like a small bell or a music box, with no visible source anywhere in the room. He turns the light back on immediately, wide-eyed and breathing hard. A bell-like sound appearing in a locked, empty room at night doesn't fit any obvious explanation. And for viewers familiar with accounts of intelligent haunting behavior, that kind of auditory detail, specific, musical, deliberate, is exactly the type of phenomenon that gets harder to wave away the more you think about it. This man keeps returning to this building, to this floor, to this same closet, and each time the activity seems to acknowledge him more directly. What exactly is in that room, and why does it seem to know when he's there? Like and subscribe if you're enjoying watching this video. He's been back multiple times now, and the pattern hasn't broken. It's only gotten closer. The following clip was captured by a woman named Madison, who felt the need to record what had been happening in her home after repeatedly telling her friends that something about her daughter's behavior didn't feel normal, only to be dismissed as overthinking or exaggerating. According to her, her daughter would mention seeing someone in the house, a man she described as her friend. At first, it sounded like the kind of imaginary companion children sometimes create, something harmless, something easy to ignore. But over time, the details became more specific. She would point to certain areas of the house, especially corners and spaces where no one was standing, and speak as if someone was actually there, responding, listening, present. And that's when it stopped feeling like imagination. One night, as they were getting ready to sleep, her daughter brought up a conversation. Watch.
Yeah, but what?
We hear something.
You can hear something.
Yeah.
What?
What is that?
Can you see something?
What is that?
I don't know. What is it? Huh?
Where? Where is it gone?
What?
Where is it gone?
What's gone?
Over there.
Huh?
Over there.
Over where?
There.
What do you mean?
In the pen. Right there.
What is it?
Oh no.
What is it, Billy?
What's that?
I don't know.
can you say?
Black.
Uh,
It's black.
he's black?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Does he talk to you?
He's coming.
He's coming.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is coming.
Huh?
Bird's coming.
Yeah.
The baby's coming.
A baby's coming.
Yeah.
Oh.
What stood out to many viewers wasn't just the moment itself, but the mother's reaction. When her daughter pointed something out, she didn't laugh it off or dismiss it. She listened, she responded seriously, as if she understood that whatever her child was experiencing felt real to her. So was this simply a child's imagination taking shape in a quiet moment? Or was it a glimpse of something that chose to reveal itself only to the one person who wouldn't question it? You decide. In this next video, a woman named Laura had just finished baking cookies and was about to enjoy them. A completely normal moment in a calm, everyday setting, with nothing unusual happening and no reason to expect that anything strange was about to unfold. She's casually talking, relaxed, unaware that something is about to happen right in front of her. Watch.
This was completely whole. Completely whole. I'm just sitting here like la la la la la. I hear, I look over. That. It's
If you pay close attention, one of the cookies suddenly breaks. Not slowly, not from being touched, but abruptly, as if something applied pressure to it from nowhere, right in front of her eyes, at the exact moment she's questioning how it could have happened. That's what makes this moment difficult to dismiss, even for critics, because the timing feels too precise, almost reactive, like whatever caused it responded to her attention, turning a simple question into something much more unsettling. So the question remains, was this simply an odd but explainable occurrence, or a moment where something else was at play, just out of sight? You be the judge. Now, this next clip touches on something a lot of people have pointed out over the years. The idea that houses with paranormal activity often seem to experience even more intense disturbances during renovations or remodeling, almost as if the process of changing the structure somehow stirs whatever might already be there. In this case, a Ring camera installed inside a home that was undergoing remodeling captured something unsettling. Watch. A faint but clearly audible voice is picked up on the recording, something that doesn't belong to anyone present. Moments like this tend to stand out even more because of the setting, a house mid-renovation, walls being opened, spaces being altered, the structure itself being disturbed. Some believe that when a home is remodeled, especially older ones, it can disrupt whatever energy or presence might have settled there over time, almost like uncovering or awakening something that had remained dormant. Others suggest that the noise, movement, and physical changes create conditions where activity becomes more noticeable, either by coincidence or by triggering reactions from whatever may be present. There's also the idea that remodeling removes boundaries, exposing areas that haven't been touched in years, which, for those who believe in it, could mean uncovering more than just old materials. For now, this incident remains without a clear answer. This next video was captured by a family's security camera, and when it was posted, it immediately divided opinion, because while the woman who shared it tried to rationalize what happened, many viewers weren't convinced it was that simple. Here's how she explains it. She's asleep when she suddenly hears her toddler crying out for juice, something that would normally be easy to respond to without much concern, but as she opens her eyes, she feels like she sees something in the room. Something unclear, something she can't fully process in that half-awake state, which prompts her to get up and check. Watch.
Oh shit! Oh my god, everybody's fucking screaming.
According to her, she believes she might have imagined it, possibly because she was still waking up, not fully aware of her surroundings. But the part that stood out to many people wasn't just what she thought she saw, it was the way her child was crying. It didn't sound like a normal request, it felt like the child was responding to something, not just asking for something. And then there's the timing, because this all happens around 3 a.m., a detail that, whether coincidence or not, tends to make moments like this feel even more unsettling, especially for those who associate that hour with heightened paranormal activity. Some viewers began to question whether what she thought she saw and what her child was reacting to might have been connected, suggesting that children often respond more directly to things adults struggle to perceive, especially in environments where something may already be present. And that's when she decided to share something else. 3 months earlier, the Ring camera had captured something she hadn't paid much attention to at the time, but after reading through the comments and questions asking if anything unusual had ever happened before, she went back and found this. Watch. If you listen closely, a voice can be heard saying, "I always have." The moment becomes even more unsettling when you consider what she had said just before that, asking her dad if he was still there with her, a question that in itself carries emotion, memory, and meaning, which makes the response feel less random and more connected, as though something was listening and chose to answer. Now, whether these moments are related or not, whether that was her dad who responded or something else pretending to be her dad, and finally showed its true color that night her child was crying, until more is understood or additional evidence comes forward, what was captured in that home remains unresolved. The following video is about a mother and her young daughter whose behavior has slowly become more concerning over time, not because of anything loud or aggressive, but because of how consistent it is. Her daughter keeps waving at empty corners, smiling at spaces where no one is standing, and at times pointing toward different areas of the house as if someone is guiding her attention, like she's being shown things no one else can see. At first, it felt harmless, the kind of thing many parents might brush off as imagination, but as it continued, it became harder to ignore, especially because the child doesn't act confused or scared. She acts familiar, like she recognizes whoever or whatever she's interacting with. One night, as they're about to sleep, the mother decides to record, not because she's certain something is wrong, but because she needs reassurance that it's nothing beyond what it appears to be. Watch.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
И мы вдвоем дома, да? И мы вдвоем дома, зайка. Только ты и я.
Я.
С кем ты говоришь?
Капу.
С кем ты разговариваешь?
Пая.
Но там никого нет, только ты и я дома. Никого нету. Только ты и я. С кем ты говоришь?
Я.
Со мной?
Дай.
Точно со мной.
Пага.
А кому ты махала? Кому ты махала, зайка? Кому ты говорила привет-привет?
Пага.
Кому?
Пага.
Это кто?
Мам.
Moments like this tend to spark a lot of discussion, and one thing often said is that as long as the child isn't afraid, it might not be something to worry about. But that idea raises a deeper question, because should calm behavior really be taken as a sign that everything is fine, or could it mean that whatever's being seen hasn't revealed its full nature yet? Because what starts as something quiet, something almost friendly, doesn't always stay that way. Now she's reaching out to other parents who may have experienced something similar, trying to understand how they handled it, how they kept their children safe, and what steps they took to make sure things didn't escalate into something more serious. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. In this next clip, a group of paranormal investigators decide to explore an abandoned building, one that has reportedly been left untouched for years, with no electricity, no maintenance, and no clear reason for anyone to be inside. Places like this already carry a certain weight. The silence, the decay, the feeling that you're stepping into a space that hasn't fully let go of its past. According to the team, the building had a reputation among locals with stories of unexplained noises, doors shutting on their own, and the constant feeling that you're not entirely alone, even when there's no one else around. Still, they proceed with their investigation, moving carefully through the structure, documenting everything. At one point, they come across a closed door. Nothing unusual at first. But then, they decide to try something. Watch.
That door just moved on its own. No joke, that door just moved on its own. Holy shit. Guys, tell me that y'all saw that. Watch. Nowhere near this thing. Watch this thing. There's a spirit here. Open that door. Use all your energy. No way. Holy shit. Oh my gosh. That is nuts. Yeah, this door over here is opening. It's opening and closing it by itself. No joke. Holy shit. There's no way in hell that I'm getting this on camera right now. Like usually, like you gotta really call to get attention. I mean, you really got, holy shit, guys, I'm baffled right now. That window is completely closed, by the way. These blinds are not moving or anything. That door is completely closed. See, it's even screwed shut. How is this even happening? I don't even understand this. There's a spirit here with me. Close that door. Use all... Oh my gosh, guys. Look, I am baffled right now, like... Oh my gosh. And there's like this carpet piece on the bottom of the door.
Now, a door opening or closing on its own can sometimes be explained: airflow, pressure changes, structural imbalance, especially in an old, abandoned building. But that explanation starts to fall apart when the timing doesn't feel random, when the movement happens in direct response to a question. Because that's exactly what makes this moment stand out. It's not just that the door moves, it's that it moves when prompted. No windows are open, no visible force is acting on it, and yet it reacts. Now, if it isn't a coincidence, then what exactly is behind that door? Now, in this next video, a man is in the middle of remodeling a house that dates all the way back to the early 1900s, the kind of place where every wall, every staircase, and every hidden corner carries layers of history, shaped by the lives that have passed through it over generations. He's working inside the house alone, focused on the renovation, when something happens that he doesn't immediately notice, something that only becomes clear after reviewing the footage. Watch this.
This cabinet found, and I think there's a squatter in this house. I think it's in here. Hello? Hello? Hello? Anybody here? Hello? Hello? Hello? Who is it?
The following video is about a family and the terrifying pace at which the strange activity inside their home has been escalating, turning what was once a normal living space into somewhere they no longer feel safe being alone. It all began one afternoon when the wife was home alone. Her husband had already left for work, and she had fallen asleep on a chair in the living room. She suddenly woke up coughing violently, her throat burning, and as she caught her breath, she noticed a smell filling the air. Thick, sour, and unmistakable. The smell of rotten eggs. At first, she assumed it was something ordinary, maybe spoiled food, a gas leak, or something left in the trash. She searched the kitchen, the drains, the trash bins. She cleaned thoroughly, top to bottom, but nothing explained it. Then, just as suddenly as it appeared, it vanished. Weeks passed and the smell returned, but this time it would appear without warning, linger for only a few minutes, then disappear again. No source and no explanation. But soon, the smell became the least of their fears. They would wake up in the middle of the night to the sound of loud, agonizing screams echoing through the house, screams that didn't belong to either of them. Religious crosses they had hung on their walls would slowly rotate and sometimes be found upside down by morning, something many believe is a deliberate sign of mockery or defiance towards symbols of protection. Other nights, someone would knock on the front door, slow and deliberate, but when they opened it, no one was there. And sometimes, multiple doors would slam violently at the same time, as if something unseen was moving freely through every room, like this.
Hello? Hello? Hello? Oh, shit! Hey!
After that night, they were shaken enough to temporarily leave the house. They stayed away, trying to convince themselves it could be explained, but deep down, they knew something had changed. During that time away, the husband came to a disturbing realization. He remembered a visit he had made months earlier to an abandoned Catholic church, a place locals avoided. He recalled feeling uneasy while inside, hearing faint noises behind him, and feeling as if he wasn't alone. At the time, he dismissed it as imagination, but now, seeing what was happening in his home, he began to wonder if something had followed him back. But the next video he shared complicated that theory even further. For several nights, he began hearing faint music somewhere inside the house. After searching room after room, tearing the house apart trying to find the source, he finally discovered where it was coming from. Watch.
I don't know if it's exactly or this specific thing, but after playing with it, I did notice it, that it was this doll. So that doll that I have here on my 666 chair, right, has been making some weird sound. Now, what kind of sounds or who could have been provoking the doll, right? But if you listen to this, on the back of this doll, there's actually a latch, which is right there. So that latch there, if you spin it, it will make some sound. I will show you. So this doll here, if you take the outside rank right here, twist it, and I won't twist it too much, but look. And that is the same exact sound I was hearing. Now y'all, let me tell you something. I'm not sure what's activating this or what's causing it to sing, but tonight I will let this GoPro go live for the rest of the night. See what is provoking this to sing. The thing is that when I come out of my room right there, this thing stops singing.
The doll was the kind that only plays music when its latch is manually turned, so this raised a far more disturbing possibility. Some believe objects, especially dolls, can act as vessels. Unlike other objects, dolls resemble human forms, giving entities something easier to attach to, something easier to manipulate, but others believe something even darker may already be inside the house itself, something using the doll not as a home, but as a tool. So he set up cameras because he wanted proof. Watch. Some viewers believe the doll itself may now be the focal point, acting as a host for whatever entered the home. Others believe the activity started long before the doll, and whatever is in the house is simply using it to make its presence known in a way the family cannot ignore. And the fact that crosses are turning upside down only deepens the fear, because in many documented cases, entities believed to be malevolent will deliberately target religious symbols as a way of asserting dominance over the space and those living inside it. But until more footage is shared, this terrifying case remains unsolved. This next video was recorded by Nate, a man whose home has become the center of a long and deeply unsettling series of events that have only grown more aggressive over time. For months, Nate has documented objects moving on their own, utensils being thrown without warning, and disembodied whispers that seem to come from nowhere. His kitchen, in particular, has become the focal point of the activity, a place where things don't simply fall. They are thrown, as if something unseen is deliberately trying to make its presence known. Over time, viewers who have followed his story have watched the escalation. It began with small disturbances, soft taps, subtle movements, things easily dismissed. But soon, knives and scissors were thrown across the room, not dropped, not knocked over, but launched with force. The kind of force that suggests intention. One morning, his dog began acting restless, pacing, staring toward the kitchen, reacting to something Nate couldn't see. Moments later, a loud bang shattered the silence, and for someone who hadn't known peace in his home for months, his reaction wasn't finding a logical explanation, it was investigating.
Alright, so I just heard something. I don't know where it was coming from, either the basement or the kitchen. I'm not sure where, but it sounded like a bang or something. The dog is reacting to it, so not sure what that was. Is that the wall? I don't know what that was. Those were there. Door's locked.
From the right side of the kitchen, something suddenly flies through the air. You can see the metal object clearly, reflecting light as it travels across the kitchen before crashing violently into the sink. What makes this moment especially disturbing is the fact that this isn't the first time. So, is whatever that's in the house only trying to scare him, or is it testing how far it can go? This time, it wasn't just the movement that unsettled viewers, it was the sound. Some people who turned their volume all the way up toward the end of the clip claim they heard a faint whisper, a single word, "Daddy." And then, on another Sunday morning, something even more disturbing was captured. Watch.
When you're sitting on a Sunday morning, having a cup of coffee, and you see all I can describe as a dark smoke or mist or cloud or something come up the basement stairs and move into the kitchen. Back door is locked. Both locks. It came up from the basement. Like right down there. Hello?
This time, whispers can be heard, but most people couldn't make out the exact words. Some listeners claim the first whisper says, "Why don't you like me?" followed later by, "Can't you hear me?" If true, those words change everything. And once again, it happens in the kitchen. This has led some viewers to speculate that whatever is present may be tied specifically to that location. Some believe it could be the spirit of someone connected to the house's past, possibly someone who once lived there, someone who felt ignored, abandoned, or unseen. Others believe it could be something far darker, something pretending to sound vulnerable in order to gain sympathy and attention. But I'll leave you to be the judge. Now, in this next clip, a man decides to record the terrifying things he experiences anytime he stays late at work alone. What makes his situation especially unsettling is the pattern he has noticed over time. According to him, the activity never happens during the day when the office is full, never when people are moving around or making noise. It only begins when everyone has left, when the building becomes quiet, empty, and still. Some nights he heard faint tapping sounds coming from inside the office itself, like fingers lightly drumming on wood, and over time he started to feel watched.
Kalau masuk, nggak usah main-main pintu. Tutup lagi nyamuknya. Ngapain? Ya Allah, makin iseng aja lah. Astagfirullahaladzim. Udah dulu yang bagus. Hey.
The door slowly creaks open on its own, then something even more disturbing appears. A face. Moments like this are especially disturbing because they suggest that whatever is causing this isn't somewhere far away, it's right there, inside the room, moving within his space. The following clip was captured by a lady's security camera. One morning, while going through her movement notifications from the night before, she noticed an alert triggered at a strange hour, a time when she was certain everyone in the house was asleep and nothing should have been moving. Curious, she opened the footage, and what she saw immediately gave her chills. Watch. A shadow slowly pops out by the door and doesn't fully reveal itself. It peeks carefully, like something was checking if the area was clear before stepping out. What makes this especially disturbing is the fact that she doesn't have any pets, nothing that could have created a shadow of that size or shape, and no one else had access to the house that night. Viewers later asked for more context, so she shared the full video. Watch. The first thing that came to some people's minds was a rat, but isn't it too big to be a rat? I'd leave you to be the judge on this one. This next video was sent in by a lady's cousin who had recently installed a motion detecting security camera in her basement, mainly as a precaution, never expecting it would capture something that would leave her questioning what might be inside her home when she isn't there. According to her, no one was at home at the time, nothing that should have triggered the alert. So when she received a motion notification coming from the basement, a place no one had entered that entire day, she immediately felt uneasy. Still, she opened the footage. Have a look. She believes the white object might be a dryer sheet, especially since the washer and dryer are positioned to the left of the frame. But what makes this difficult to explain is the fact that there is no draft down there. The basement windows are made of sealed glass cubes that cannot be opened, meaning there is no clear airflow that could push something that deliberately across the floor. But what truly terrified her wasn't just the movement, it was the sound. If you listen closely, faint footsteps can be heard, slow and heavy, followed by a low growling or rumbling noise, something deep, something unnatural, something that doesn't sound like it belongs in an empty basement. And again, there was nobody home at the time. Some believe entities prefer lower levels of homes because they are quieter, more isolated, easier to occupy without being disturbed. Others believe growling sounds are especially concerning, often linked in paranormal reports to entities that are not passive, not harmless, but aware, territorial, and capable of interacting with their environment. So now, if no one was home, what exactly triggered the camera? Now in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his investigation inside the infamous Blackford County Jail, a location widely regarded as one of the most feared and talked about haunted buildings in the state of Indiana. This time, Ian decides to explore one of the most avoided parts of the building, the attic. According to local rumors and previous investigators, This attic is believed to be haunted by the spirit of a young girl, an entity said to appear unexpectedly and interact with objects left behind. So Ian brings along a few trigger objects, including a stuffed animal, hoping to encourage communication. Watch.
Here, that was hung from this. Whoa. Dude, I think I just saw an orb fly by that thing. If that was you, could you do that again? Were you hung here? Were you executed here? Dude. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. Dude, that thing is swaying back and forth. I can't believe that. Dude, it's literally just started swaying back and forth. Dude, now it's slowing down. It stopped. Dude.
As he scans the attic, something unusual begins to happen. Near an old noose hanging from the ceiling, a faint orb appears, hovering close to it. At first it seems subtle, almost easy to miss, but then the noose itself begins to swing. Many paranormal investigators believe objects like nooses can carry heavy emotional residue, especially in places where suffering or death may have occurred, making them potential focal points for spiritual energy. But what happens next is even harder to explain. Watch.
I can't stay up here. I can't. I can barely see, my freaking flashlight's dying too. Alright. I've had enough. I'm sorry, little girl. Thank you.
From somewhere in the darkness, the stuffed animal he placed earlier is suddenly thrown to the floor. Unfortunately, he didn't capture the exact moment, but moments later, Ian captures something even more disturbing. Listen carefully. A faint giggle echoes from the darkness, and it sounds like a little girl giggling. It's often warned that childlike laughter in haunted locations may not always be what it seems, as some believe certain entities imitate children to appear harmless and lower a person's guard. Until more investigations reveal the truth, what Ian captured inside that attic remains one of the most chilling and unexplained moments inside the Blackford County Jail. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following footage was recorded by a restaurant security camera, and over time, people who have come across it have started to see it as a possible example of residual hauntings, or what some would describe as an intelligent presence continuing a routine long after death. What led to this footage being discovered in the first place was a pattern the workers could no longer ignore, because every morning when they arrived, they kept finding kitchen items out of place, not missing, not stolen, but rearranged in ways that didn't match how the space had been left the night before. At first, it was brushed off as forgetfulness or poor closing routines, but as it kept happening, they decided to go back and review the security recordings to understand what was really going on. And this is what they found. Watch. In the footage, something that resembles a figure can be seen moving within the kitchen area with motions that resemble washing dishes. That detail is what led to the rumor that quickly spread among workers, the idea that this could be connected to a former dishwasher who had worked at the restaurant and passed away not long before all the weird activity began. While there is no confirmed evidence tying the figure directly to that individual, the nature of the movement has made that theory difficult for some people to ignore. There is a belief in paranormal discussions that when someone spends a large part of their life doing the same task, especially in environments tied to routine and repetition, that energy can linger, either as a residual imprint that replays certain actions or as something more aware that continues what it once did. The idea of being unable to move on, not out of choice but because something keeps you tied to where you once belonged, is what makes cases like this feel particularly disturbing, because no one wants to imagine spending their life working toward rest, only to remain in the same place, repeating the same actions, unseen and unheard. For now, this one remains a mystery. This next video is about one of the most deeply rooted human fears, the moment when a place that is supposed to be safe, familiar, and entirely yours suddenly feels occupied by something you cannot explain. In this case, a man approaches his apartment one evening, expecting nothing unusual, just another routine return home. But before he even gets to the door, he looks up, and from his bedroom window, there is something staring directly at him. Watch.
I'm outside of my apartment building, and there's something watching me from my window. Hold up. I don't know who that is, but it keeps watching me, following me. Oh my God. Okay. And as soon as I run back upstairs, it's gonna disappear. What do you want?
In the footage, a strange figure can be seen positioned at the window, its shape unsettling not just because it is out of place, but because of how defined it appears. Some viewers were quick to suggest that it could be a piece of clothing, maybe a shirt hanging in a way that creates the illusion of a figure. But that explanation becomes harder to accept the longer you watch because the structure doesn't quite match something limp or fabric-like. There is a form to it, and toward the end of the clip, there is a subtle movement. Some believe there is the possibility that whatever it was had been there longer than he realized, unnoticed, blending into the environment until that night. But until more details are shared, this one remains unsolved. Now in this next clip, an urban explorer enters an abandoned house, expecting the usual silence, decay, and stillness that comes with places long left behind, but what his camera captures instead turns the entire experience into something far more unsettling than he could have anticipated. Watch.
¿Hola? ¿Qué? Niño, ¿qué chucha fue?
Inside the house, he spots what appears to be a child moving around, casually playing with a ball, a moment that feels completely out of place in a structure that shows no signs of life, no electricity, no activity, nothing to suggest anyone has been living there. And even if you try to set the paranormal aside for a second, the situation is disturbing on its own, because the presence of a child in a deserted building immediately raises questions that don't have easy answers, like where the child is coming from, how they are surviving in an environment like that, and why they are alone in a place that looks completely abandoned. Naturally, he begins to search the area, checking rooms and spaces where the child could have gone, but there is nothing. After leaving that house, he heads to another building nearby, possibly hoping to find some explanation, maybe even the child again, or someone connected to them. But what he encounters next only deepens the mystery. Watch.
No, que yo sepa nadie tiene llaves, sitio está abandonado.
¿Esa silla estaba ahí?
No me di cuenta de la silla, gente. No, si hemos bajado y no había ni una silla.
¡Ay, Alexito! ¡Uy, qué verga era eso! ¡Uy, mano! ¡Uy! Hermano, había una cabeza peluda. Ten cuidado. Déjalo aquí, a ver, déjalo aquí de nuevo. Déjalo ahí. Había una cabeza peluda allá, Alexito. Hola, buenas noches. Buenas noches. ¿Hay alguien aquí? Alexito, ¿aquí cuidan?
This time, a figure briefly peeks out, and although only part of it is visible, there is no mistaking that something is there. What makes this entire situation even more disturbing is the condition of the area itself, because it appears that multiple houses along that street have been abandoned, each one empty, each one silent, yet not entirely without presence. It begins to feel less like a single strange encounter and more like a pattern, as if every structure holds its own unexplained detail, something just out of sight but close enough to be noticed. And when you start to look at it that way, it becomes easier to understand why no one lives there anymore. Because even without clear answers, the atmosphere alone suggests that something about that place has driven people away. The explorer has mentioned plans to reach out to former residents, hoping to uncover what might have happened in those homes and whether there is a history that could explain what he experienced. But until then, the footage leaves behind more questions than answers. Was that really a child? Or something using the image of one to appear less threatening? And if every house on that street has something in it, then what exactly happened there? For now, it remains unsolved. This next video shows what can happen when people live with unexplained activity for so long that fear slowly turns into frustration, and eventually into a decision to confront whatever is causing it. For Michael and his teenage son, that moment comes after months of disturbances inside their home, including strange noises, cold spots that seem to form without reason, and lights that flicker at the most inconvenient times. But through all of it, one place in the house always feels different: the basement. There is something about it that stands out, something that doesn't feel empty, but occupied, as if whatever has been moving through their home has chosen that space as its center point. So one evening, instead of avoiding it, they decide to go down there together. Michael prepares in the only way he knows how, slipping a pouch of blessed salt and a small crucifix into his pocket. Items often associated with spiritual protection, not because he is certain of what he will face, but because he no longer wants to feel unprepared. Then, with his son beside him, they step into the basement and lock the door behind them. Watch.
I'm gonna lock us in. Shit. Okay. Hold on. Take your time. Did you hear that? It's down here. We got it. You smell that?
Oh, it smells like shit, bro.
Anything?
There's a bunch of broken glass everywhere.
Okay, you go this way too. Stay close to me. Dude, stop, stay by me. It was glass. Don't move.
Watch your foot.
I know. God, you smell that. Did you fart?
No. It's super cold down here, too.
It's winter time. Connor, stop. What the fuck? Alright. We're gonna make a run for it.
If it traps us, you're dying first.
It's gonna just go. Shit. Oh, shit, good. Oh, God. What? No. We gotta get out of it. What are we gonna do? No, stop, man.
You locked us in.
We're gonna go.
You locked us in.
No. We make a break. There's nothing there. Stay by me. Stay right behind me. It's still there. It's still there. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? You got your phone?
No, I don't.
The noise down there was strange and deep, like growls, but what really stood out was the smell. At first, it seems almost dismissible, something unpleasant but explainable, like something spoiled or out of place. But as the seconds pass, it changes, becoming heavier, sharper, and far more intense, until it settles into something that is difficult to ignore, a sulfuric scent. If there's one thing we know, it's that paranormal investigators often say that the smell of sulfur is a sign of demonic presence, easily mistaken at first, but unmistakable once it hits. But maybe, just maybe, the strange noise and smell could be dismissed. What they saw standing still in the corner of the room is proof that whatever happened in that basement wasn't imaginary. It wasn't even residual energy. It was real, and it was demonic. The following footage was recorded inside a restaurant, but what led to its discovery didn't start with anything obviously paranormal. It began with small, frustrating inconsistencies that slowly built into something no one working there could confidently explain. Important documents would go missing, only to reappear in completely different places, and at times, staff members claimed they had seen things out of the corner of their eye, subtle movements, shadows, or the sense that someone had just walked past when no one else was around. At first, management assumed it was carelessness, people were blamed, warnings were given, and the situation was treated like a human error problem rather than anything unusual. But the complaints didn't stop, and the incidents didn't line up with anyone's shifts or responsibilities. Eventually, they decided to check the security footage, and that's when everything changed. Watch.
All over the ground, and it got my backpack wet. So I wanted to find out who did it, so I came in to check the cameras. And we're gonna go 30-second intervals. So every click's 30 seconds. Watch this area here. Craziest shit ever. What the hell? Now we're just gonna play it. Nobody's in the office. It's a notepad of paper. It just moves right out. Wait for it. What the hell? Now watch the book still. No editing, the shit's in.
The movements don't feel accidental, and they don't follow a pattern that could easily be explained by airflow or vibration. Some believe this could be the presence of someone who once had a connection to that space, someone who handled those same documents, worked in that same environment, and somehow remains tied to it. And then there is the more disturbing angle. If something unseen is capable of going through documents, shifting them, and leaving them in different places, then it might be looking for something. So the question is, what exactly is still working inside that restaurant after everyone has gone home? And why does it seem so interested in those papers? This next clip dates back to 2021 and was captured by a CCTV camera inside the home of a woman named Gabrielle. On this particular day, the house is supposed to be empty except for her father, making what happens in the footage even harder to explain. At some point, he begins to notice that something in the house is trying to get his attention, not through movement at first, but through sound. Watch. If you listen closely, there are voices, but not just random sounds or unclear whispers. What makes this disturbing is that the voices seem familiar, resembling Gabrielle and her daughter, even though neither of them is home at the time. There is no television playing, no background source that could explain where the voices are coming from, and yet it sounds as though someone is inside the house calling out. Then another detail adds to the confusion. The door sensor goes off, indicating that a door has been opened, something that should only happen if someone physically enters or exits. But when her father steps out to check, there is no one there. This doesn't happen just once either, because each time he responds to the sound or the alert, he finds the same thing. Nothing. No person, no movement, just silence returning as quickly as it was broken. After Gabriel shared the footage, many viewers were skeptical and asked for another camera angle, specifically one that would show the living room and the television, to rule out the possibility that the voices were coming from a screen. So she shared another clip. See, watch. In this angle, the television is clearly off. The room is empty, and there is nothing visible that could be producing the sounds heard earlier. Some believe this could be a case of mimicry, and what makes mimicry particularly disturbing is the level of accuracy it can have, how it learns the patterns, voices, and routines of the people living there, repeating them at moments when it knows someone will respond. So, do you also think it's a mimic, or there's something we're not seeing? The following clip is about a man named Nick, who manages a yogurt store and for a long time dismissed the strange stories his staff kept telling him. Employees had complained about lights flickering, objects shifting when no one was nearby, and an uneasy feeling that only seemed to happen during closing hours. At first, Nick assumed there had to be logical explanations, faulty wiring, building issues, or simple human error. But eventually, he experienced the same thing. Watch.
Okay, I'm literally at work right now. I'm alone. That's my car. There is not one other car in the parking lot. Look, the freaking light's flickering from the reflection in the window. I don't know what's going on. I'm here alone, and this is what I deal with that I usually don't catch on camera. This is the light switch. Ready? This? Oh, I think I stopped it. Did I stop it? No, I didn't. I didn't stop it. I don't know what's going on, and this makes absolutely no sense. And now it stopped. Good. And ready? Here we go. Because that makes sense, right? This is what I deal with, and no one understands. And of course I'm here alone, and this is like a friggin' murder house. This is my security cameras. There's no one here, so I don't understand. Oh my god, Jesus Christ. Hello?
At first glance, many people assumed it was nothing more than electrical problems. After all, flickering lights in older buildings aren't uncommon, but power shortages don't explain everything, because moments later, a chair suddenly falls over on its own in the attic. Nick later revealed something even more unsettling. Before he started recording, he heard what sounded like a girl singing somewhere inside the building, and according to him, this wasn't the first time. Several employees had mentioned hearing the same thing, soft singing late at night, always when the store was nearly empty. There was also another detail that people couldn't ignore. The neighboring store right next to them had recently gone out of business. The space had been empty ever since. Dark, silent, unused, and yet some began to wonder if whatever energy lingered there had simply moved next door. At this point, people were curious, but not fully convinced. Many chose to wait for more evidence, and then it happened again. One evening, as Nick and his staff were preparing to leave, thinking the night had been quiet, the camera captured something else.
Okay guys, we were literally just about to leave my store when shit just started flickering again. This is the second time it's happened. My car's over there, and
I'm shaking right now.
okay, and her keys are in the fucking bag.
We need to go. We need to go get my keys.
And the light turned on.
I don't want to go.
Okay, well, I'm gonna literally record this whole thing just so you guys can see what happened. I'm literally so scared. Okay, okay, something. The bathroom light's on too.
What's this like? Bro, why are my keys on the floor? They were not there. Like, I deadass put them on the desk. Like, oh my god.
This is literally insane.
If you look closely, a topping lid suddenly flies off the counter, like something physically knocked it away. And almost immediately after that, the lights they had just turned off began flickering again, as if something inside the darkness was moving through the store. This was the moment people stopped blaming electricity. Because faulty wiring can cause flickering, but it can't remove lids, it can't target objects, and it certainly can't create the feeling that something is active only when the building is empty. That detail became especially disturbing, the fact that all of this only ever happened at night. Some viewers began speculating that it could be what paranormal researchers call a residual spirit, energy left behind by someone who once spent a lot of time in that place. Residual hauntings often repeat certain behaviors, moving through familiar areas, making familiar sounds, sometimes even singing. Others believed it might be something more aware. And then came the moment that disturbed people the most. One night, while Nick was inside recording again, something happened that was impossible to ignore. Watch.
Okay guys, we've been sitting in the back for like 20 minutes now, and we're just watching the cameras and stuff is still flickering and going on, but nothing happened back here, and we need to go home, and this is so freaking terrifying.
We're 50 minutes past our shift because of this shit.
We closed at 10, so we need to like, it's so dark because all the light switches are over here.
Stop it, go, go.
Okay, this is what I mean. This room is over. This is.
Oh my god.
This is what we're dealing with.
Oh my god, yeah. What the? Bro, Nick, did you do this on purpose?
I.
Did you fake this? No, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you, Nick.
Stop! You're literally. Are you?
No, wait, no, nah.
No. We literally looked away for like 2 seconds.
From the darkness, something is suddenly thrown in his direction, like something didn't want him there. Nick and his staff quickly left, shaken and trying to process what just happened. But seconds later, when they looked back, they saw the lights moving inside again. Some believe this could be what's known as a poltergeist, an entity known not just for appearing, but for interacting physically with the environment. Poltergeists are often associated with thrown objects, sudden movement, and escalating aggression. Unlike residual energy, they don't simply replay the past, they react, and sometimes they target. Others believe it could be something attached to the building itself, especially considering the abandoned store next door. Paranormal investigators often warn that empty spaces can sometimes become vessels, places where energy gathers without interruption. And then there's the singing, because one of the most unsettling signs reported in hauntings is disembodied singing. Familiar and human, but with no visible source. Many believe this is a way entities announce their presence, not loudly but subtly, but enough to be noticed and enough to be remembered. Until more updates are given, all anyone can do is speculate. But if you were standing there alone, hearing singing in an empty store, and watching things move on their own, what would you say you're dealing with? In this next video, a woman is in the middle of a live session, calmly recording herself and interacting with her audience, when something deeply unsettling appears behind her. Take a look.
Hi guys, today I want to tell you about Licito. Okay, so what was that? I'm scared.
At first, nothing seems out of the ordinary, but then for a brief moment, the outline of what appears to be a man becomes visible in the mirror. Moments later, she steps out to check the area, but there's no one there. Nothing that explains who or what was reflected. Shortly after she returns, her door slowly opens on its own. Some viewers believe this points to a possible intruder or even a stalker, someone who may have been inside the home without her knowledge, staying quiet and out of sight. And honestly, that explanation carries its own kind of fear. The idea that someone could enter and leave without being noticed is deeply disturbing, but others question the way the door opens. There's no visible force behind it, just a slow, steady movement that doesn't seem tied to anyone physically present. Either way, both explanations leave the same unsettling question. Was someone in her home that night, or was it something else? In this next video, a well-known Turkish paranormal content creator who specializes in found footage style investigations travels deep into the Turkish countryside to a village long rumored to be inhabited by jinn. These abandoned settlements, known locally as Turkadilmiş Koylar, are often avoided entirely, their silence carrying stories no one wants to verify firsthand. His first stop is an abandoned house at the edge of the village. Normally, his investigations begin quietly. Minutes pass with nothing but the sound of wind and his own footsteps. But this place feels different from the start. Only seconds after stepping inside, something suddenly tries to attack him.
Ha! Buradan uçtu valla.
The object narrowly misses him, and at that moment, he and his friend immediately realize they're dealing with something far more active than expected. They leave the house quickly because whatever threw that object didn't miss by accident. And there's no guarantee the next one would, but their investigation is only beginning. They soon arrive at another location deeper within the village, a place known as Sin Ovasa, the Plain of Jinn. Even the name carries a warning. As he scans the ground with his flashlight, something unusual catches his attention. Lying in the dirt is a small wooden structure, a talisman.
Burada ooo. Ağaçtan geldi. Bu ağaçtan geldi. Gördünüz mü arkadaşlar?
It appears to have been thrown from the direction of a nearby tree. In Turkish folk magic, objects like this are often referred to as a muska or talisman. They are believed to serve as anchors, either to bind a curse to a location or to trap a jinn in a specific place. They are usually buried carefully, hidden from sight, because disturbing or removing them is said to release whatever they were meant to contain. As they move closer to investigate, a strange voice suddenly breaks the silence. Neither of them can identify where it's coming from, but it's close enough to send them running. After putting some distance between themselves and the tree, they stop and shine their flashlight back toward the spot where they heard the sound. And that's when they see it. A figure, standing motionless in the darkness, watching them. They didn't stay long enough to find out what it was, but before leaving the village entirely, they decided to investigate one final abandoned house. Except, this house didn't feel abandoned.
Oradan mı geliyor? Orada.
İnsan kıran insan. İnsan, evet. İnsan. Hadi insan delidir. İnsan normal bir insan. İnsandır. İnsan gibi diye. Bunu gördüm. Tam kapıdaydı Sinan. Tam kapıdaydı.
As they slowly move through the rooms, their flashlight catches something disturbing. A hand that appears briefly from behind a door. It looks human, solid, and real. But when they entered, no one was there. No open doors, no broken windows, and no possible exit. Whoever or whatever they saw had nowhere to go, and somehow it vanished anyway. To this day, what they encountered inside that house remains a mystery. Now, in this next clip, popular Midwest investigator, Midwest Ghost Hunter, continues his investigation in one of the most feared locations in the state of Indiana, the abandoned Blackford County Jail. Earlier in his investigation, Ian had already been driven out of the basement after rocks were thrown in his direction. Still unsettled, he moves upstairs toward the sheriff's quarters, searching for something specific. A pair of slippers that previous visitors claim appears and disappears without explanation. But as Ian stands near the staircase, scanning the quiet hallway, something suddenly comes flying down from above. Watch closely.
Who's behind the disappearing slipper? Because I'm not gonna lie, that's one of the strangest things I've ever heard. Are you a female spirit? What is your name? Did you once live here? Oh, what the? What the heck was that? Dude, something just hit me on the freaking head. What the heck was that? Whoa! What? Is that a ring? Oh my god. Dude, I just got hit in the head with a freaking ring. Oh shit, I dropped it. Where did it go? Where'd it go? I dropped it somewhere down here. Dude, what the heck? Like, who threw something at me? Something just hit me in the head. It was a ring.
An old, ornate ring comes flying down the stairs and strikes him directly on the back of the head. Ian searches the immediate area, checking the floor, the steps, and the surrounding space, but couldn't find it anywhere. Then, things escalate even further.
Okay, I'm genuinely lost. I don't know where this thing went. Dude, I just heard a woman. Okay, I'm going up. Alright, screw the ring. I'm going up here. Hello? Hello? I just heard somebody. Oh, dude, I almost fell. I just heard somebody up here. Hello? Ma'am? Did you throw a ring at me? It's okay. I'm not mad. I just want to know why. Why'd you throw it? What if it disappeared? No. That's crazy. There's no way. I physically had it in my hand.
A faint woman's voice can be heard somewhere inside the quarters. Ian freezes and tries to listen carefully, but there's no one else inside the building. No footsteps, no movement, just the voice. To this day, it's still unclear what threw the ring or who was speaking. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following video was recorded by a man who was testing his new glasses camera mode, and what he briefly saw made him stop cold.
What the?
I know I just saw her. Yo, am I tripping? Scrunch, I could have swore I just saw you standing up. I think I got that on my glasses. I got to check to see if I got that on my...
The little girl was in her light blue onesie, and in that opening split second of footage, she appears to be standing upright near the wall. Something a baby in a swing simply shouldn't be able to do. If you look at that very first frame, it's so distorted and blurry that it's nearly impossible to say with certainty what's actually there. Skeptics say it's a compression glitch, a single corrupted frame that the brain reads as a figure. Others think the camera caught something it wasn't supposed to. What do you think he saw? Now, in this next clip, two young girls, both in matching red shirts, are sitting at a small table at night, finishing their meal, while a woman films them from across the room. It's an ordinary enough scene, the kind of quiet nighttime routine that plays out in homes everywhere. Suddenly, one of the girls, Nani, says she's scared, and at first it's easy to brush it off, because children often react to darkness, to shadows, to things adults don't pay much attention to, and it seems like one of those moments. Watch.
Finish eating.
When I'm done, can we get our fries?
Yeah.
I just... what? Don't scare me.
What?
I'm scared. It's okay.
I just turned off the lights, that's all. What was that?
I'm scared.
What are you doing? Oh, what, Nani? Look at me. What are you scared of? The fish? Oh, the fish died.
What?
Angel's sleeping already. It's raining, girls.
No.
Nani, are you almost done eating? Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Turn around. Turn around. Turn around. But you gotta listen to me. Turn around. Look at me. Listen.
The girl sitting on the left begins to imitate the situation, playfully making growling and laughing sounds, clearly trying to tease and lighten the mood, treating it like a joke rather than something real. But then something shifts, because she turns to look in the same direction Nani was focused on, and her reaction changes instantly. The teasing stops, her expression drops, and within seconds, that playful imitation turns into genuine fear, escalating from small sounds into full panic, her body language tightening as she begins to cry, then scream, as if whatever she saw in that moment removed all doubt that something was actually there. And that reaction is what unsettles viewers the most, because it's not one child reacting anymore, it's two. And the second reaction comes after direct eye contact with whatever caught their attention in the first place. But what makes this harder to ignore is that nothing visible appears on camera, no shadow, no movement, nothing that explains the intensity of their fear, which only raises more questions about what exactly they were reacting to in that moment, because whatever it was, they both saw it, and whatever was there that night still hasn't been explained. This next video comes from what appears to be a residential driveway, captured on two separate occasions by the same security camera, both times in the early hours of the morning, both times with no one present, and both times catching something that has no obvious explanation. The first incident was recorded at around 5:27 a.m. on February 18th of 2025, in complete pre-dawn darkness. The property quiet and still. Watch. What appears in the frame is a translucent white humanoid shape, but not fully formed, lacking a head, with only the lower portion clearly visible, moving in a way that suggests motion rather than distortion, as though it is crossing through the driveway with purpose, yet without the physical presence that would normally accompany a person. The way it holds its shape, even briefly, makes it difficult to dismiss as simple light interference or passing mist, because it doesn't disperse or break apart the way natural elements typically would under infrared light. Then, captured on that same camera on the same date, but timestamped at 4:37 a.m., nearly an hour earlier than the first clip, something entirely different appears, adding another layer to what's already difficult to explain. Watch. This time, instead of a figure, a glowing cycle moves through the frame, clearly visible, clearly defined, but with no rider, no person guiding it, no visible force pushing it forward, just the object itself moving through the space as though it is being operated by something that cannot be seen. In some folklore, particularly in parts of Asia and Europe, incomplete apparitions, figures that appear partially formed or missing defining features like a head or face, are sometimes associated with restless spirits. Entities that have not fully transitioned, or that are bound to a location due to unresolved circumstances surrounding their death. These forms are often described as unstable, appearing only in fragments, unable to fully manifest but still present enough to be seen under certain conditions. Now, two different manifestations, same place, same night, which raises a question that's far more difficult to answer. Is this just fragments of something that once happened there, or evidence that something is still there, moving through that space long after it should have been gone? This next clip was recorded by a woman checking her family into what looks like a rustic lodge-style hotel suite. A nice getaway, the kind of place you'd expect everyone to be excited about. The room has a stone fireplace, a lofted second floor, a balcony with daylight streaming in. Nothing about it looks wrong, but the moment the family steps inside, the little girl, KK, loses it completely. Watch.
Come on, Mama.
Oh, she don't like this one. Wasn't expecting that. Dang, Big Mama. Is there something in here? We rebuke it, Kai Kai. We rebuke it. She said, Yeah. Yeah. There's shit on the toilet.
This where you and Dad sleeping? Good.
What?
Close it. Don't pull out, babe. This is so nice.
You welcome. I hope y'all like it. I hope y'all got some energy because we're gonna be up all night.
KK is still inconsolable by the end of the clip. Her dad has to hold her near the dining table just to calm her down. Now, a lot of people would chalk this up to a toddler being overstimulated or tired from travel. But what's harder to dismiss is how specific the reaction was. Not to the car ride, not to the unfamiliar faces, but to that room. Many believe young children, especially toddlers, haven't yet developed the social filters that cause adults to ignore what they sense. Some call it residual sensitivity, the idea that children perceive environmental energy that most adults have learned to tune out entirely. Whether that's what KK felt in room 24, nobody can say, but she wasn't having it. You decide what that means. This next video comes from a man named Jorge, and his situation is one of the more unsettling claims you'll come across, because according to him, whatever is haunting him isn't tied to a location at all. It's attached to him personally. He describes it as something that follows him everywhere, something he insists physically attacked him recently, choking him in his own room. So to demonstrate that the haunting travels with him, he set up a camera one afternoon at a park. A completely ordinary outing with a father and a young girl named Amora having a snack at a picnic table, surrounded by bare branch trees in what looks like early spring. Look closely at the tree line in the background.
Dad!
Yes. Oh, what's over there? What's over there?
Dad!
Yeah? Yum, yum, yum, yum, yum, yum. Yeah. Come here. Come here. Eat that bubble. Eat that bubble.
Dad!
You want to walk? You want to go for a walk? Esta cosita. Esta niña de papi. Ay, I got your nose. I got your nose. I got your nose. Oh, give that nose. Come on, Ay, cosita linda de papi. Oh, give me my nose.
Between two tree trunks in the midground on the right side of the frame, there's a dark vertical shape, static, upright, present throughout the entire scene while the father and daughter laugh, eat, and play together at the table. It never moves, it never reacts, but it doesn't disappear either. The narrator believes this is the same entity that he claims attacked him, watching from the woods while his daughter played, completely unaware. And that's where it gets difficult to dismiss, because the shape itself is genuinely ambiguous. Skeptics would say it's a shadow falling between two trunks at a particular angle, the kind of thing your eyes latch onto when you've already been told to look for something. Others think that's exactly how a poltergeist-type presence would show itself, not dramatically, but quietly, at the edge of visibility. The term poltergeist comes from the German meaning noisy ghost, though historically these cases are often tied to a specific person rather than a place, which is exactly what he's describing. The idea that something could attach to a human body rather than a house is a common thread in more extreme paranormal accounts. Now, he's asking the same question he can't seem to answer himself, whether what's watching from those trees is something malevolent, something neutral, or something that might actually be protecting him and his daughter. The footage won't give you a clear answer, but that shape in the tree line standing perfectly still while a little girl laughs in the foreground, you decide what that feels like. This next video was recorded inside a woman's home on the morning of March 30th of 2021, and it starts with something that clearly had her frustrated before she even pulled up the camera. She walks through her hallway and finds a bouquet of artificial flowers lying on the floor, the kind that sits snugly inside a glass mason jar mounted on the wall, the kind that, as she points out herself, wouldn't just fall out on their own. She zooms in to show exactly how secure the arrangement is, the stems tucked firmly into the jar, nothing loose, nothing that gravity alone could explain. And then she says she's gonna pull up her security footage because she knows something else is going on. Watch.
these things, right? This is supposed to be identical to this, but I walk into this shit on my floor, so I'm like, what the fuck, right? And like, you can like see, like, if I wanted to, it's not just gonna fall out, like, this stuff is in there, you know? So I'm gonna pull in my camera so y'all can see what I'm talking about.
Right there on the Wise camera at 8:37 in the morning, with the hallway perfectly still and no one anywhere near it, the bouquet is suddenly removed from the jar, not sliding, not tipping, but pushed forward with enough force that it clears the rim entirely and drops straight down to the floor. You can hear it too, a faint scraping sound as the stems drag against the glass, then a soft thud when it lands. The jar doesn't move. The mount doesn't shift. Just the flowers gone. Whatever moved those flowers, it did it in an empty hallway, on a quiet Tuesday morning, and left no trace of how.